Hello YouTube, it is Mac298 and today I'm going to do a Apple 2014 predictions video. "2014 is the year of the wearables, and I think this is the year that Apple will be jumping in to the wearable market. We've already seen the concept proved by the watch Pebble, but I think that Apple will be the one to start the smartwatch market. Now, really all we know about it is that it will have a 1.5 to 1.7 inch screen and it will run a modified version of iOS. Now, it's supposed to interact with your phone, not replace it, so there'll be some interconnectivity between the iPhone and the iWatch. I will be doing a updated video later this year as I obtain more information about the iWatch, but it will be coming out in 2014. Next up in the video is the iPhones. The main focus for Apple in 2014 will be on the next generation iPhone. I predict that the iPhone 5C will be getting the components from the iPhone 5S, and the next generation iPhone will be getting a A8 processor, a camera upgrade, probably still around 8 megapixels, and the first for an iPhone, two different size screens on the newest generation iPhone. Most likely we'll be seeing a screen size in the 4-inch range and a screen size in the 5-inch range. Now I'm not exactly sure how this will play out because Apple seems to be diversifying the iPhone lineup, but I'm not sure what they would be calling it. Maybe just like naming it the different screen sizes, but who knows, we'll figure it out later this year. The design of the next generation iPhone will be a radical departure from the design of the current generation iPhone, and this is because the iPhone 5S design is actually based on the design of the iPhone 4 that came out in 2010. So I think that 2014 will be the year that we see a completely new phone design come out of Apple. Now, I think that the design is going to resemble either the iPhone 5C or the iPads that came out in 2013, because all of those feature curved edges and a flat back. Next up is the iPads. Both the iPad Air and iPad Mini got major updates in the fall of last year, so I feel like 2014 will be the year of incremental upgrades for the iPads. The two major features that the iPads will be receiving this year is the Touch ID sensor as well as a new processor. One major thing to happen to the iPad line this year will be the addition of a larger 12.9-inch iPad. This will have the same specifications as the 2014 iPad Mini and iPad Air, but it will be more of a pro iPad meant for more of the enterprise business rather than consumer markets. Since iOS 7 was a complete redesign of iOS, I think iOS 8 will be more of a performance update for iOS 7 rather than being a complete redesign again. Now, it's kind of like how Mountain Lion was a update to Lion, where the majority of the stuff stayed the same, but a few new features were added. Now, I think that iOS 8 will be mostly performance related. There will be a few new features added in 2014. For the iPods, we actually do not know much about them because it is the beginning of the year. However, most of them will be getting redesigns this year due to the fact that whenever there is an iPhone redesign, there seems to be an iPod redesign at the same event. And the most notable one will be the iPod Touch because it will probably be getting a A7 processor, updated cameras, and again, a new design. Starting off the Macs is the MacBook Air, Apple's consumer-level notebook. My prediction for the 2014 MacBook Air is after having the exact same design since 2010, it will be receiving a complete redesign in 2014. My prediction for the new design is it will stick with the very slim profile of the front, but on the back it's almost as thick as the Retina MacBook Pro, so they'll be more focused on trying to slim down the back of the computer. I also predict that this year the MacBook Air will be getting the Retina display that is on Apple's other notebook computers. On the specification side of the MacBook Air, I predict Apple will be putting in Intel's 5th generation Core i series Broadwell chips into the MacBook Air. RAM will stay the same, and storage space will either stay the same or have a standard 256 gigabyte size. Now, moving on to the MacBook Pro, Apple's professional grade notebook. For 2014, I predict Apple will be discontinuing its non-Retina MacBook Pro and only leaving the Retina MacBook Pro as its Pro notebook. Now, Apple started this in October of 2013 by discontinuing the 15-inch non-Retina MacBook Pro, but the 13-inch still remains, and I predict it will be discontinued later this year. As for specifications, really the only major thing that will happen is Apple adding the Intel 5th generation Core i series Broadwell chips that are said to improve the battery life even more than Haswell did. As for the design of the MacBook Pro, Apple redesigned the MacBook Pro when it released the Retina MacBook Pro 2 years ago, and Apple only redesigns its computers every 4 years, so no redesign this year. Starting off the desktops is the iMac, Apple's consumer-grade desktop. I predict that the iMac will only be receiving minor upgrades this year, and the most notable one will be the addition of Intel's 5th generation Core i series Broadwell processors. Moving on to the Mac Pro, obviously since the 2013 model of the Mac Pro just came out in December 2013, Apple either do a minor revision on the Mac Pro or there will not be a 2014 Mac Pro. Moving on to the Mac Mini, I predict that the Mac Mini will be the only Mac desktop to receive a redesign this year. I predict that the redesign will kind of look like the Airport Extreme that was updated in mid-2013, having a more tall design rather than the Mini's short design. Besides the redesign, I predict that there will only be minor internal updates such as Intel's 5th generation Core i series Broadwell chips, and maybe a little bit more RAM. I hope you enjoyed my Apple 2014 predictions video. Make sure to subscribe because I will be doing product unboxing, reviews, and also predictions throughout the year as more information becomes available and as the new products release. So thank you very much for watching. This has been a Mac 298 production. Goodbye.